Hi everyone. This is to give you a very quick overview of what you can find on your grades and a couple of the anomalies that come up. As with any grading system, HAIKU can do some things, and yet then there are some things that we have to enter differently in order to have your grades reflect what you're truly doing. So let's see what that means. When you go in to look at your grades, I am just previewing what it looks like for a student. This is sample student, and we use this just so we're not posting anyone's grades. And you'll notice that the cumulative grade is no credit, or R. The R is added to draw your attention to the fact that it's highly likely that something needs to be resubmitted, and that's why it's no credit. It might be 0. It might be that someone hasn't turned something in yet, and I've gone through and graded it. So let's look at a couple of pieces here. You'll notice it's broken down by session. Here's session 1, which is worth 14% of your grade, and we'll show you how that works in just a second. Here are all of the assignments under session 1, and the due dates, and the points, and it's either 1 out of 1 or 0 out of 1. It can be 0 out of 1 for 2 reasons. Typically, quite frankly, I don't go in and put zeros if something's missing. I suppose I could put a letter M in there, but I'm trying to make it as straightforward as possible for people. But notice this is 0 out of 1, and this sample might say, hey, I turned that in, but there's an R. It means it needs a resubmit before credit is there. So when you see this overall letter grade for session 1, it's not meant to alarm you. It's meant to direct you to something, because you might say, hey, I turned everything in, and it's like, absolutely. But there's a couple pieces you need to go back and look at. And what I do is I leave feedback on every single assignment. Now, of course, this one that's 1 out of 1, it doesn't mean that everything was 100% correct. It means the majority of everything was correct, and there was nothing missing or incorrect on a critical question. So if sometimes the data is a little bit off, I may have a note in there saying, oh, you know what, on your final trial, this wasn't exactly what we would have expected it to be, but nevertheless, everything else remaining in your assignment is correct. So it's 1 out of 1. So before you use this in your own classroom or use what you've done as a key, you'll want to go in and check for a message in the drop box. So again, a 1 out of 1 does not mean 100%. It means there was completion of the critical pieces accurately. A 0 out of 1 means maybe somebody got a little sideways on an answer, and it's a critical one though, so we just need to ask that question again. Or something was not answered. Sometimes people may intend to come back to a question and don't. And it's a critical analysis question, and so we have to ask you for a response. So that's what is here. So you can see this person, sample student, he has no credit, but it's just because he needs to go back and relook at a couple of assignments, and here's the due date. Session 2, passed so far. Okay, and this is where you want to be careful. You want to always look at the detail. I haven't graded these yet for sample student. An R could still come up and be 0 out of 1. So a pass doesn't mean, okay, I'll never look at a session 2 grade again. You probably know this, but I'm exaggerating everything just a little bit. Session 3, we haven't even started yet. It's due on the 27th. Here are the assignments. So remember, these are the ones I've graded. So sample may have turned in all of these. I haven't gotten to them yet. Session 4, I haven't published yet, 5 or 6. Then we come to pretests. Pretest 1 and 2 is what's listed here. Pretest 3 will come up pretty soon. Here's where it becomes interesting, and I'm going to switch to an actual piece of teacher work so that you get some values in here and it makes more sense. So let me show you what I've done. I've made an alteration here, and I want you to be able to see what it is. Here are the pretests all together. So far we have pretest 1 and 2. 3 will come up pretty soon. You can tell, for example, and I'm going to contrast pretest 1 and pretest 2. This person, the highest score they got on the pretest 2 was a 65. But remember, your score, it doesn't matter what score you got in terms of your grade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the pretests, and if you have completed it, regardless of what score you got, I'm going to put, hey, you got 100% because you completed the pretest, and that will turn into a P. So I'm going to go into this students, and I'm going to change this to 100 because I don't want them to be penalized on the pretest because they only got a 65%. That's okay. That's what we expect. But what you're going to find is you will no longer have access to what you actually got on that test in case you want to keep it or know what it is. Same is going to be true of post-test. This person got a 90% on their post-test and an 82%. That's totally cool. I'm going to go in and put in 100% though, because remember, it's completion, not what score you got. So this will change to a pass. But once I do that, this score will be lost. And I only want to draw that to your attention because if you want to keep track of them and see, gee, how did I do overall on my tests? HAIKU won't allow me to keep both of them. I either have to keep the 100%, you get full credit, or keep your original score. Discussions. I've only looked at discussion forum 1 today. I hope to get to discussion forums 2 and 3 in the next couple of days. 1 out of 1, a pass. Note, 1 is accepted for full credit, R needs resubmit, and so that's what these letters mean. You also will notice on some of them there's a little blue bubble, and that means there's a message. It's usually not much of anything. For the first few assignments I put, please see feedback message within this drop box, just to alert you that there is feedback, but you won't necessarily find it in this little blue bubble. You will see it in your actual drop box. There's a message. Again, it will tell you either what you need to relook at and revisit. I may have included a resource for you. I may have included a video or just ways to help you figure it out. For the ones that are complete, again, it doesn't mean they're 100% accurate. It means they are 75% or more accurate, but I'm not going to give you 75% credit. I'm going to give you full credit. But you need to go look at the message to find out, is there anything that really I would want to look at before I use this with my students. Hope this makes sense. Thanks for your patience. Bye.